Hi there, I'm Andy Parsons of AutoLogic Systems. My role at AutoLogic is of business development and I have responsibility for sales. We have a webinar for you today. It's digital twins, in particular Emulate 3D for the OEM community, original equipment manufacturers, and in particular it's the sales and design review activities within that space. The intention of the webinar is really to try and demystify the use of digital twins in that space and bring out how easy it can be to get more added value from your existing efforts. I think often when the word digital twin gets mentioned, there is often an immediate assumption that never gets spoken around cost, and people see significant expense in this space. And I want to pull that argument apart and just show you how it can be a lot easier and a lot less expensive to get to market. What are we going to talk about today? Briefly introduce AutoLogic Systems and the Emulate 3D software solution, which is our point of focus. Okay, we want to run through the benefits that we're proposing. We want to show you how to build a digital twin. What are the steps that you need to do, which will lead us to delivering smarter, more engaging customer experiences, and it will help us, it will elevate our engagement with our prospects. And at the end, we want to talk about how AutoLogic can help you achieve these goals. We found over the years that often when you talk about digital twins, I think people can automatically see lots of money involved and some big numbers financially, and that's just not the case. So, you know, AutoLogic offer a lot with supported evaluations, with training, no obligation quotations, and we'd love the opportunity to catch up with all you guys who've seen the webinar and show you what it really looks like. Okay, company background. AutoLogic were formed in 1993 as a limited company, a distributor and service provider of 3D modeling software, in particularly simulation solutions. Times move forward. We were acquired by Rutico in August 2022, okay, which gives us excellent reach into the marketplace where we support UK and Ireland and the regions supported by Rutico offices, Netherlands, Belgium, Austria and Switzerland. Our service work takes us all around the world. So this is us as AutoLogic. We can sell you the software sales, provide training, provide technical support. And we also have a very experienced team of guys in our support and consulting team who leverage Emulate 3D in the marketplace, whatever the marketplace needs, whether it's one-off digital twin build or whether it's catalog support or whatever support the marketplace needs. So just going to take a minute to introduce the length and breadth of Emulate 3D. I want you to imagine your machines, your wider transportation systems, your robotics, your process plants. Whatever your plant and equipment is, Emulate 3D's job is to bring that plant and equipment to life in the virtual world, to create material flow, to create product flow, to bring our axes to life, to bring our sensing points to life, to create a dynamic running digital twin. We always talk about the workflow with Emulate 3D. It's one piece of software, there's a single skill set and an end-to-end workflow. If we start on the left-hand side of the screen, we talk about demonstration, so early ideas and concepts, bringing them to life, some great reuse of the CAD world, so third-party CAD data, 2D and 3D, great reuse of that, and some impressive stakeholder engagement tools, so the ability to engage internally with your company but also externally with your customers. Those early ideas and concepts become final designs and we move into the area of simulation, so a very robust place, more than a demonstration. We're proving a throughput where we see complexity, maybe interconnected processes, machine, process, machine, buffer, machine, that kind of thing. There's often complexities there that we can, at design time, we can test, we can identify bottlenecks in the virtual world before any parts and equipment get purchased. So very much a de-risking space. From design sign-off, we move into the space of virtual commissioning. Here, we're connecting into automation controllers, the third-party world of the PLC and other higher level software layers. So the PLC is controlling, it believes it's controlling the physical world, but it's controlling our Emulate 3D digital twin, which brings out many opportunities to de-risk and save time and money. And that space naturally runs into the world of operator and maintenance engineer training. Very realistic, accurate, virtual training environments where you don't need possession of the plant to be able to conduct your training. So that's our Emulate 3D workflow. As we discussed at the start, our main focus today is going to be on the demonstration capability of Emulate 3D. So for you OEMs, it's about engaging sales time and design review time. This is where we want to focus. What benefits are we proposing? We want to maximize the value from your CAD design efforts. A lot of work goes into the mechanical design in software these days. We want to take that, add value, and take it on to the next level to make your CAD dynamic with material and product flow. It's about being able to, as best you possibly can, prove your point of difference. Just going to look at a video now. This is from the corrugated industry. This is from our friends Avanti. Their Pegasus machine, which processes cardboard sheets into customer orders. Nice little video here showing mixing the real physical world with the digital twin to show you the accuracy that we can achieve. Their CAD statement has been brought into Emulate 3D, and Emulate 3D has made it dynamic with product flow. So Avanti, they utilize the full workflow of Emulate 3D, but at sales time, they are clearly showing their point of difference, which in this case is their speed of order build. Okay, that's what, and then this model here is connected into the PLC. So we are the source of truth in terms of timing. Okay, they can bring their customers to the digital twin. In their office, they can take their digital twin to the trade shows and events. But the customer can watch their order being built through the digital machine and will understand clearly Avanti's point of difference, which is speed of order build. Hopefully you'll see through the video, as the video runs, the accuracy that we can achieve. You know, here we are slicing, cutting, reorientating stacks of cardboard, and then eventually presenting them to be relayered and repalletized, ready to go direct to the customer. So the work here is about bringing all the machine axes to life. Okay, so we're accurate in terms of acceleration, deceleration, target velocity. Okay, all individual drives are at the control of the PLC. We watch our cardboard stacks enter the layering area. Just going to run this forward slightly. So what an opportunity, A, to virtually commission your PLC logic that's going to control what is a very configurable machine. But then what an opportunity to leverage the value of building that digital twin at sales time and design review time. Okay, hopefully that gives you a good indication of the type of thing we can achieve. We'll just drop out of there. So let's move forward. Saving time and money. We can, with our virtual machine, our virtual equipment, we can iterate through our designs faster. We can create virtual products. We don't need to build anything physical, which allows us to save time and money. And we're de-risking. There's if you bring out these design iterations through Emulate 3D, through your digital twin, into, you bring them out into the review process, you will find with the accuracy that we model, it will tease out any misunderstandings, and it will reduce the number of design iterations. All of this allows us to get to market faster. We're doing less physical prototyping and more virtual prototyping. It can only lead to better engagement with your customers and prospects. If you feel within your company that if you were to score yourself out of 1 to 10, how efficient you are in this space at sales time and design review. If you feel you're scoring a bit low, the opportunity is here to better engage and de-risk and save time. The overall message is leveraging your Emulate 3D digital twin to sell more. Better engagements, more accurate engagement leads you to selling more. With our digital twin, what do we need to do? How do we build it? Make our CAD dynamic. So we take our 3D CAD statement and we export it to Emulate 3D. We can export all the whole of the CAD world, very highly developed CAD integration space into Emulate 3D. Or if you've got CAD out there, we can get it into Emulate 3D. Okay, we can take step file formats. We can take the natural file format, the native file format from that software, but we can also export from these CAD packages natively to Emulate 3D format called Raw 3D. This is a super efficient format. It minimizes the file side. We have to handle our CAD dynamically. So it's important we are super efficient, super accurate, and super easy on our graphics cards within our hardware as we run our digital twins. We bring our CAD into Emulate 3D and we talk of adding aspects so that Emulate 3D understands what is a visual. It's a conveyor, it's a linear axis, a rotational axis, it's a distance sensor. Okay, so we add these aspects, which are really just configurable, a list of configurable properties. We create our material flow, and it's important we can do this in an accurate manner and as quick as we possibly can. And then we need to add our sequence tasks. In the same way with a physical machine, you would be, on site, that's being controlled by your automation controller, your PLC. When we're at design time, okay, so we want to be able to create our dynamic digital twin, and if we don't have that PLC logic, then we can easily add sequence tasks to run our digital model. And we're going to take a look at that now. Just going to drop inside Emulate 3D. This is a screen capture from Laura at Emulate 3D, who has recorded herself doing what is a fairly simple build with a few conveyors and a device that's going to push objects off their linear path. So we've imported some CAD, and here is our CAD is the model ribbon. You can see on the top of the screen where we select our CAD, and in a drag and drop fashion we add our aspect and we set our aspects up. Which surface on our visual is going to do the conveying, and we specify the leading and our trailing edge. It's very kindly provided, because it knows it's a conveyor aspect, it's provided a configurable conveyor motor as well, which we'll see later on. Brought in some more CAD now. This is our pusher. Put that into place, and we're going to tell it it's a physical device. It can physically push and deflect things. So we add some what we call our physics wrapper, and now we're adding a prismatic joint and identifying the forward direction of travel and the limits on our push. Added a motor and a controller, many different types of controller. With simple on-off motor, add forward and reverse. We can get to target positioning on our axis if we require. All of our axes will have inbuilt encoder feedback if we want to utilize that aspect. Imported a shape which is our product that's moving, set it up as a load source, and our timer load source is going to say give me one of these objects every X seconds. And we're going to place a sensor in the middle of the conveyor. So when that triggers, we want to be able to decide if we want to trigger our push to send our container onto a different path. So now, as we've got sequence our automation, this is where we get into our sequencing task, and we're just about to get into that world. There's a number of ways we can do it. You can control our automation by the PLC. This piece is around guys at technical sales time and mechanical designers. We want you working in this space. So we've got a little, like a scratch pad, okay, and a catalogue of statements that we can drag into our window and sequence them together. So we're going to wait until our sensor is blocked before we decide to make a decision. Once our sensor's blocked, we've got an if statement to say, depending on the condition we set, are we going to decide to push or not? We're just going to have a little random selection. It could be, we could be reading a barcode value as a property on the side of the tote, or just randomly saying, you know, which one are we going to push? We've got complete control over when we execute this sequence statement. We build up our pusher so it can be activated. If we just let this run on a fraction more, we will then hit reset and run, and we are doing a test on our virtual plant. In this case, we are using full physics. We don't have to engage our physics engine. In this case, we are. There's a number of physics engines within Emulate 3D, depending on your task. Some are stacking tasks, pushing tasks, bulk handling, cabling, all have their own little niche physics engines that can help us on our way. Okay, we're nearly ready to roll. On comes our container, and we have timed our push. We decided we would push that one, and we're going to leave. We're pushing the first two even, and the third one we decide not to. So just a little glimpse into our world of modelling there. Within a couple of minutes, we're up and running with a digital twin that allows us to test our timing, okay, before we build anything. So back into our world of CAD. As we saw, we had our ribbon there in Emulate 3D where we were adding our aspects and we were creating our material flow. The Emulate 3D has a free to access add-in for the CAD world. So all the main CAD suppliers, we can install the Emulate 3D add-in, and it gives us the native Emulate 3D features are put into our CAD package. And we'll just evidence that now. We've got a short video. This is with Autodesk Inventor. We're back to the simple conveying axis, but there's that ribbon that you saw previously in Emulate 3D. It's now, here it is in Inventor, and we're adding the aspect, and then we're going to export it to native Emulate 3D, the raw 3D format. And here we are inside Emulate 3D. And we have the ability to round trip. So if we make adjustments and additions in Emulate 3D, we can send that information back to our native CAD package as well as a round trip. Okay, a nice little example to finish of a real world case study. Lots of sequencing logic in a complex little cell here. Lots of actuations, lots of axes, some product flow, all under our sequence logic control. So our sequence logic here was we utilised the workflow of Emulate 3D. We did some design review with our little drag and drop scripting logic, and this moved forward into a full-blown virtual commissioning test connected into the PLC. Just mention at this point regarding the automation controllers, we are agnostic of hardware provider. We connect natively into Allen Bradley, into Siemens, Mitsubishi, Omron, B&R, Beckhoff, etc., etc., as we do with the robot manufacturers as well. But just a nice little example of, we can get to this point very quickly, and these nice sort of high quality light source renders used to be almost unattainable through time scale and cost, but it's a very accessible space now, and the time to do the final high quality render is incredibly quick compared to where we used to be, maybe even 2-3 years ago. Okay, talking about delivering smarter, more engaging customer experiences. So this is your existing customers. You're doing projects with them. You're going through that design review space. This is we have the opportunity here for a more detailed review, as detailed as we physically can be without being the physical machine. Okay, so which leads to much better understanding, and with better understanding happening quicker, you build trust faster. So we are naturally shortening our design review space and our time to get to market. A nice little example here, a mechatronic space. So we've got a bit of product flow conveyed in. You'll see evidence of the physics engine and sensing points and sequencing logic for the Delta robot style pick into some weighting trays. Okay, so it doesn't look overly complex, but this was the reason behind this study, was for a supplier who felt they were struggling to a degree to communicate their design iterations to their end user. Now, there's quite a bit going on here when you get into the 3D side of it. You've got 2 layers of conveyor feed, empty trays in, full trays going out, and different ways of controlling this cell. So this twin was built in hours rather than many days and weeks. Okay, so which is, if we can build this quickly and achieve this kind of level of speed of build, then we can support our design review process and shorten it. Digital delivery to our customers. Along our journey of our design iterations, you can be handing over digital information to your customer, which they can take ownership of inside their space, inside the end user space. So video captures, but also the Emulate 3D free to use viewer app, which is, it's free to install. It goes onto your smartphone, onto your smart devices. We capture the animation from a digital twin, and then we can play that animation back in the viewer. Okay, so you have control over the scene. You can pan and zoom to your heart's content and find the view that you want. You aren't constrained by, automated video capture viewpoints. A great way to engage and empower your customer space to understand what's happening. We engage with the world of virtual reality. This is low overhead work. It's, for us at AutoLogic, this is a proper design review space. It's more than a nice to have. It's more than a bit of fun. It's about having a very personal, subjective design review. You're inside a virtual environment at your head height, and you can engage with the virtual dynamic moving environments. This is Sam here. We've got a green screen capture of Sam in a virtual reality headset. It really doesn't matter what the application is. This is from the automotive sector. As it happens, semi-automated cell, and we're doing gearbox assembly. So we have control over the cell through automation, and then Sam has to do tasks. He has to pick the right product in the right sequence, and he'll get feedback if he's not achieving the right sequence or the right position of where he's trying to do the task. We've decided to embellish the video, the environment with some useful big green arrows bobbing up and down to help. But it's whatever you want this environment to be. It can be, more sort of this kind of help, or it can be an instance of the actual HMI that is you're interacting with to run your plant. So this has naturally opened up the space of training. Why would you not use this as a virtual tool to train your end users? There's continued need for training. It's a problematic area in a lot of end user spaces, and the virtual environment gives you a lot more capacity. It takes away the need for possession of the plant. There may be hazardous areas, and all that gets taken away in our virtual training space, which can be very realistic. Moving away from existing customers and existing projects, we're now talking about elevating engagements with your prospects at events, at trade shows. We can go digital in our exhibition space when we're showing off. So if we're digital, okay, we can reduce our floor space. We don't need to transport machines to our exhibitions, which satisfies the green argument. We can go to the exhibition with our complete product range virtually, rather than just one physical machine. So lots of opportunities there. You could be on a customer site or a networking event, or just set up a digital showroom in your office with some very engaging features. As we had on the previous slide, we showed Sam there who was engaging with the machine. You know, your customers, your prospect can engage with the machine. You know, they can operate the machine, they can do tasks around the machine, they can experience the HMI. So really good opportunities to differentiate yourself in the digital world without having the physical machines there. So lots of opportunities. Okay, one last video for you. We have some canning line, sort of end of line. This is actually being controlled by PLC. This is a Compact Logics PLC from Rockwell Automation, and there's two guys in VR headsets. They can see each other, they can interact. They're looking at what is an actual instance of the HMI being viewed through a web browser, and they're interacting with the HMI, changing values, interacting with the line. Okay, so this is, you know, this is all available to you on a laptop and a desktop to be able to do these experiences and have this kind of thing projected onto your show wall and get people interacting with plant and equipment of any size, shape and form. A little bit of fun now. This is interacting with the cans on the line, and this is a more close-up view, which in this case we have the factory talk HMI rendered through viewpoint. But it's an interactive space, interacting with the HMI. I hope all you guys watching the webinar have found that of interest. To finish up, we just want to review how AutoLogic can help you achieve your goals, and the goals and the benefits that we've discussed on the webinar today. So we can supply you with the Emulate 3D software, and we can train you up. We can support all of your digital twin activities. So whatever support you need, any mentoring, any difficult questions, you know, whatever it is that, you know, to keep that flow of activity within your company, we can support those activities, be there for you. Guys, in our engineering team, we develop and supply virtual environments with Emulate 3D, so we can develop your digital machines and catalogues of your digital machines if you want us to do that, and then you can take ownership of the completed machines, take those in-house and use them as you want to. You don't need it. You can then take those digital machines to your exhibitions and build up your showrooms within your facilities and engage with your customers and prospects in a very meaningful, accurate way. There's supported evaluations. Okay, we can provide that, support you through an evaluation period at very little risk to you. And we're always keen to offer no obligation quotes for digital twin builds. As I said at the start, I think the talk of digital twins, people often think they potentially back away, assuming, you know, vast amounts of money to get these twins built, and I'm suggesting that just isn't the case. And we'd love the opportunity to demonstrate that to you. And if you give us an example, we can give you a no obligation quote and take you through it. Okay, as I say, I hope you enjoyed the webinar, and we hope you've taken a lot of positive feedback from it. Thank you for your time.